wants me definitely to do this one, and I said I could do it. Yeah, this just goes.
Yeah, it's pretty fast.
This just goes up to a B, so I can sing it.
What? Somebody got to sing that.
Yeah, I bet it's.
Pretty.
Yeah, it is.
And that's a good tempo too. Yeah. All right, here we go. Hello, Trisha.
Is that my signal? Good morning. Good morning. And welcome to each and all here in Unity Hall and in the online pews. Thank you for being here. Your presence adds life and luster to our worship today. That word worship, it actually comes from an Old English word, werworthopi. Werworthopi. And that word means worthy. It means that which has worth, that which we create and give worth to. And I rather like that meaning because it reminds us that this hour of worship is special, that it has a certain gravitas, dignity, substance, and worth. And many hands go into planning a worship, but it doesn't happen till now when we all gather together. Then we make worship together. We create something of worth. My name's Tricia Brennan. I am the sabbatical minister here while Reverend Carolyn is on a well-deserved sabbatical. And today I get to lead worship with Paul Carolyn, who is the liturgist today. As we gather for worship today, we do so mindful of the original caretakers of this land, who also created ceremonies of worth and meaning. We honor and pay respect to the Mohegan and Nahantck people, the ancestors and their lineage, who today uphold the traditional practices, arts, and education. This is my favorite part of the whole service. Welcome to all souls. Souls are welcome. Our opening hymn is Kumbaya. Kumbaya means come by here, and it was sung by formerly enslaved people on the Gula Islands off the coast of the Carolinas and Georgia. In that spirit of joyful liberation, I call you to worship and invite you to rise as you're willing and able to sing Kumbaya, come by here.
Beautiful song. You guys sounded great. 5-part harmony. It's our custom here at All Souls to greet each other warmly each Sunday. Please remember that at this time we're still offering peace with our elbows bumping. Right now, let's all turn and wave to all the folks in the online pews. Good morning, friends. And if you're here for the first time for our service, we invite you to raise your hand so we can embarrass you. No, so we can acknowledge and welcome you. Anyone here for the first time? Yes, welcome, friends. Those in our online pews, you can say hello, and if you are with us online for the first time, we'd love you to introduce yourself in the chat. So at this time, we offer you to turn to each other to offer a greeting and message of peace with your hearts, your eyes, your smiles, and your voices.
I'd like to ask Carol Irwin to come up to light the chalice this morning. I don't know Carol. There you are. Hi, Carol. Maybe I did know you. Carol has been the leader at the community meals in New London and knows a lot about hospitality. So let's together say the chalice lighting words. Come into this place of peace and let its silence heal your spirit. Come into this place of memory and let its history warm your soul. Come into this place of prophecy and power and let its vision change your heart. Carol is also going to light a candle of peace. Peace is what we desire in our world, and today we especially hope and pray for peace and healing for those most impacted by the violence at Michigan State University. We name and remember Brian, Alexandria, and Ariel, 3 students who died on Monday, and we hold in our hearts the 5 students who were critically injured. Our love, our prayers, our everything goes out to the families and friends and all who are grieving. May peace prevail. Thank you, Carol. Okay. Story time.
Story time. Oh, it's me.
Yeah.
Just as we started, a reminder that there's no faith formation this Sunday, and all the children and youth are welcome to enjoy the story with your families. We're delighted to have you here with us for the whole service. Our story today is called Old Turtle and the Broken Truth by Douglas Wood. Illustrations by John Youth.
The story begins, once in a beautiful land far, far away, that was somehow not so very far, there fell a truth. It streaked down from the stars, but as it fell, it broke. One of the pieces blazed off through the night sky, and the other fell to earth in the beautiful land.
In the morning, Crow found the fallen piece. It seemed to be sort of a stone, shiny and pleasing to the eye. He picked it up. "This is a lovely truth," said Crow. "I will keep it." But after he had held it for a while and examined it closely, Crow said, "This truth does not feel quite right. Part of it is missing. I will look for the whole one." He flew off and dropped the truth to the ground.
Other creatures noticed the truth as well, but they too found that it had hard, rough edges and was difficult to carry. There is something missing in this truth, they thought, and they left it alone.
Then a human being found it. On it was writing that said, "You are loved." The man held it carefully, thinking it was the loveliest thing he had ever seen. The man took the wonderful truth to his people. The truth made the people feel good.
But soon they also began to feel fear and even anger toward those who were not like themselves and did not share their truth. Many battles were fought, people suffered.
Finally, the animals went to Old Turtle, ancient and wise. "This truth that people quarrel over," they said, We have all held it ourselves. It is broken and does not work. Please tell the people."
"I am sorry," answered Old Turtle, "but the people will not listen. They are not yet ready." And the suffering continued.
Until one day, a little girl came to find Old Turtle. She had traveled very far. When she saw Old Turtle, she simply looked with eyes full of wonder.
"Why have you come so far to find me, little one?" asked Old Turtle.
I wanted to ask a question," answered the little girl. "Where I live, the earth is sore, and people are suffering. Battles are fought over and over again. People say it has always been this way and will never change. Can it change, Old Turtle? Can we make it change?
Old Turtle spoke, "The world you describe is not the world that has always been, little one." Then Old Turtle told of how the people had found the broken truth and the suffering it caused. It is because it is so close to a great whole truth that has such beauty and that the people love it so, said Old Turtle. It is the last portion of that broken truth that the people need if the world is to be made whole again.
But where is the missing piece, asked the little girl. Can we put the truth back together again?
First, my child, said Old Turtle, remember that there are truths all around us and within us. The people, clutching their one truth, forget that it is part of all the small and lovely truths of life. They no longer see these truths, no longer hear them. But perhaps, little one, you can...
I'll try, said the little girl.
Old Turtle spoke again. Remember this also, little one, she said. The broken truth and life itself will be mended only when one person meets another, someone from a different place or with a different face or different ways, and sees and hears herself. Now, little one, it is time for you to go. Take this with you, said Old Turtle, as she placed something in the little girl's hand. I have saved it for a very long time, for someone just like you.
The little girl looked at the mysterious, beautiful stone. It was lovely to touch, and it made her feel good to hold it. Thank you, Old Turtle, she said. And then she started home. Sometimes she touched the stone Old Turtle had given her to renew her strength. It took a long time, yet almost no time at all, and she was home. She explained about the broken truth and the need to make it whole, but the people did not believe her and could not understand.
Finally, Crow, seeing all that had happened, flew to the place high above the village where the great truth was kept. He cawed in his loudest voice, and suddenly the little girl knew what to do. She climbed to the high place herself. She took Old Turtle's stone from her pocket and carefully added the missing piece to the old broken one.
The fit was perfect. The people looked, and they began to understand.
Time passed, and upon this beautiful land, tiny truths fell by day and night, gentle as rain and snow. And the people found them and kept them in their hearts. And slowly, as the people met other people different from themselves, they began to see themselves. So ends our story this morning. So each morning, as we gather, one of the ways we tend to the fabric of community is to bear witness to each other's lives, the joy and sorrow both. Those in the online pews, you may write in the YouTube chat what you would like to have shared here in Unity Hall. And a reminder to refrain for the moment from commenting on what each other has said to make it easier to read through. Those of you in Unity Hall, you're invited to come forward to light a candle of intention as you are so moved. And those of you at the front of the line, I'd ask that you come through to this end and light candles up here so that the line can flow more easily. The circle is open. Your joy, your sorrow is welcomed here. Let me share with you now what has been included in the chat, in the beloved community email, and also in the Gray Book. Friend Radha, Richmond Covey, I'm filled of joy and sorrow simultaneously. Joy that I'm able to be with you, and sorrow from Bob's death, which precipitated selling my house and moving to be with my daughter. We are thinking of you, Radha. This is an enormous time of transition for you. From Elizabeth Bull, prayers of quick and complete healing for a coworker's little one who has pneumonia again. From Charlie Ewers, a joy. Michelle and I celebrated our 50th anniversary this past week and are now gearing up for the next half century. Way to go, Charlie and Michelle. Your love gives us joy. From Glennis Ul-Shak, healing prayers for a young neighbor post-major surgery. Indeed. From Sue Frankowitz. On Wednesday, my sweet and gentle feline companion, Molly Grace, completed her life on planet Earth. At 18, she had a long life, the past 10 with me, and was the most loving kitty one could ever hope for. I'm filled with both sorrow and gratitude, and welcome your hugs. From Sue Frankowitz. We send our hugs in any way to you, Sue. That is a complicated and big loss. Barb Yates would like us to know that she had surgery. She is in good spirits and finally walking. She thanks everyone for their cards. Barb, you keep going. Anna Sussler says she's feeling stronger every day and is grateful for your kind thoughts and positive energy. And I don't know that she's here being able to hear us, but I'll convey to her that we send her love. Bill Stam thanks all who sent him supportive and healing messages. Part of one toe is no longer on his foot, but he is home recovering after several weeks in the hospital and rehab. Bill, we continue to send you love and hopes for healing, and so happy you're home. We gather all those intentions, those we just heard, and those that are unspoken, into our collective heart. And we're grateful that neither the joys nor the sorrows that were expressed need to be experienced alone. Prayer and meditation mean different things to different people. In whatever way is your custom, please join me in a time when our hearts and minds unite towards that what is most essential, most holy, most simple, and true. Spirit of life and love, called by many names in our world and in our midst here, we lift up these intentions to you as well as to ourselves and trust them to your tender mercies, all that is our life. May we embody your love, a love and goodness bigger than we can possibly imagine, and may that love inspire us each in our own way to be peacemakers and justice seekers, ever mindful that all of our lives we are in need and others are in need of us. Amen. Now we get to hear the choir.
Break not the circle, that beautifully captures who we are as a community, doesn't it? You guys think it wonderfully. Thank you, Becky. Great job. Our reading is from Religious Hospitality, a spiritual practice for congregations, written by Peter Morales, former president of the UUA. I love this reading because it captures very strongly who we are as the All Souls community here in New London. This reading is shared as a reminder, an affirmation, and an ongoing challenge for us as members of the All Souls community. It's about hospitality. There are 1,000 ways to practice hospitality. First, we can begin by opening up and loving with those we already know, allowing ourselves to be vulnerable and extending ourselves to others. But we cannot and must not stop there. If we stop there, we draw a circle that keeps others out, a circle that disconnects us. We must go further. A true religious hospitality reaches out to those we do not yet know. This can be as simple as greeting those seated near you on Sunday morning, as we do, and working up the courage to talk to a stranger during coffee hours. How many of you do that? Good. It means warmly welcoming those who come looking for a religious home. Right, Lynn? But we must also take the spiritual practice of hospitality beyond the safety of our own religious communities. Our practice must extend to opening our hearts to strangers throughout our lives. The real challenge for us, the spiritual heavy lifting, comes when we encounter people who appear to be different from ourselves. People we perceive to be as different test our spiritual development and help us to develop spiritually. We need to practice openness to people who make us uncomfortable, people who come from a different ethnic group, people a lot older or younger, people who are gay, straight, or conservative, people who believe things that may seem crazy to us, people who suffer from mental illness. When we welcome what is uncomfortable, we grow. The best reason to reach out isn't to help another person, it's to make ourselves whole. Reaching out frees us from the prison of the self. Reaching out with love frees us from individualism and narcissism. With love comes understanding, and with understanding comes love. Ultimately, love and understanding are one. When we make true connection, we touch that which is holy. Hospitality is the start of the journey. It is the enactment of our Unitarian Universalist faith. The hunger for true religious community, for connection and commitment, is pervasive in our time. Our future depends on whether we can connect with people at the level of their deepest longings and highest aspirations. We are called to free the spiritually hungry and to offer a home to the religiously homeless. And in the process, we are enriched in spirit. Someone, a long-lost relative of the human family, is coming into our lives. It happens every single day. At church, it happens every single Sunday. That ends our reading.
I like very much that All Souls chooses its own worship themes. That's unusual. Most congregations leave it to their minister and/or use one of the really quite excellent worship planning resources that are thematically based by month. But as I understand it, the ministers and some of you most involved in worship life met over the summer and you reflected on the themes that felt most worthy and relevant to you, what caught your interest, what you thought would resonate in the community. And as you most likely know, February's theme is? Hospitality, what we value. And one of those things is hospitality. So what we value, it's pretty straightforward, except that as a newcomer here, I didn't really know what you valued. I could make some guesses knowing that you're a UU congregation, but we're not a one-size-fits-all denomination. So I had a conversation with Carol Thompson, who was in on that summer planning worship, and she helped me parse out February's theme somewhat. And then I simply looked at what are the things you pay attention to? What do you as a congregation, how do you spend your money? And what are your actions? For those are the things that reveal what we value more than anything we might say. Now, 3 weeks in, I'm far from an expert on All Souls, but what I know and what I've seen does tell me that hospitality matters to you. So I know this because you bought this building, renovated it, and made it beautiful so that you could welcome more people into your midst. You're soon to enlarge your space to create a new community room, enabling you to welcome more people in and open up the space for use in the community. You serve meals regularly at the Community Meal Center. As Gandhi said, to the hungry man, God comes as bread. Members of the Alliance for Living are welcome to use the showers on site during the week. With your ministers, you've collaborated in interfaith work, seeing and valuing the truths found in other faith traditions as you unite to work for the common good along the lines of the story we heard a moment ago. And sometime not too many years ago, you purchased 25 J Street, renovated it, and made it beautiful so that refugee families arriving to New London could live in safety, peace, and comfort. And last, and certainly not least, one can count on a robust coffee hour here every Sunday. Thank you very much. I'm sure there's more, but I'm aware of enough to see that over the years there's been a through line of hospitality in what you value and make real. And of course, the things I've mentioned are the big things you can touch or make or give, buildings, meals, showers. There's also the innumerable acts of kindness and welcome that create a culture of hospitality. This too is part of who you seem to be to me, and it's as important as the big stuff. Now, I'm not saying all these things necessarily to make you feel good about yourself, although it's fine if you do, and I hope you do. I'm saying it because I agree with Peter Morales that hospitality is an enactment of UU faith. Hospitality is a spiritual practice, and the more we practice it, the more we're grounded in it that we become, and the less we practice it, the easier it is for it to wither. Dorothy Day, along with Peter Morin, founded the Catholic Worker Movement, a movement that birthed houses of hospitality throughout the country, places where people could get food, clothing, shelter, respect, and kindness. There's one here in New London, I realized when I looked online, right around the corner, but you probably know that. In her autobiography, The Long Loneliness, Dorothy Day wrote, and I condense and paraphrase, "We were all just sitting there talking, and lines of people formed saying, 'We need bread.' And we couldn't say, 'Go away,' so we shared what we had, and there was always bread. We were just sitting there talking, and people moved in with us, and somehow the walls expanded. We were just sitting there talking, and someone said, 'Let's go live on a farm.' It was as casual as that, I often think. It just came about. We all have known the long loneliness, and we have learned that the only solution is love, and love comes with community. It all happened while we just sat there talking, and it's still going on." I share that because when I think of your evolution as a congregation that values hospitality, I imagine that it was kind of like that you were sitting around talking, and in some graced combination of openness and vision, you were moved to take action, some of it risky. You said yes when you were asked to help. You made friends, and you built partnerships in the community, and somehow the walls expanded, didn't they? And with that, I'd wager your hearts expanded too. And it's still going on. We practice hospitality and everything changes, including ourselves. The practice of hospitality involves a willingness to be open and to be surprised. Now, many cultures have a story that says, "Watch out, for the one who comes to your door may in fact be more than he or she seems, may carry a message, may carry a test, may carry a blessing." Odysseus is unrecognized by his wife and son upon his return after 20 years. The post-resurrection Jesus is unrecognized by his good friends on the road to Emmaus. Zeus and Hermes, dressed as ordinary peasants, are turned away by all except the elderly couple, Baucis and Philemon, who invite them in. And were those stories invented to support the practical practice of hospitality in ancient cultures, which dictated, as you may well know, that any stranger is to be welcomed, because then you were ensured a welcome when you left your own land and kin. Well, yeah, I think in part it may have been that, but just as much, I think they were created so that we humans retain an element of mystery and grandeur in our relationships with one another. For if anyone can be understood to be more than he or she seems at first, then no one ought to be underestimated or dismissed or left out. Or put another way, the prospect of disguised divinity engenders curiosity. What lesson might the stranger have to teach us? What gift might she bring that we need? What joy might he share that will change us? Allowing for the unknown to be revealed in each person means we remain open to one another, open to what the other has to say, not so quick to judge, able to look more deeply into one another's essence. And what a gift that can be in a time like we are in now, when there is so much distrust, especially across political divides. You know, in faith communities, we often talk about hospitality from the viewpoint of us as the ones who open up home and heart. And that schema of inclusion and exclusion is framed around us as the ones on the inside, with others wanting to come in. And as people privileged in so many ways, it's good to go at it in that direction. And likewise, a congregation that aims for all souls to be welcome, well, that's a perspective that rightly so is about the welcome, except that it's not always the case. For in more ways than we care to admit, we are all at one time or another, in some form or another, the one who appears at the door in the middle of the night in need. We're all, at some point, the stranger, the one on the out who wants in, the one hungry for food or attention, a kind word, a loan, a smile. We all need hospitality during our lives. I doubt it will take long for you to remember a time when you were in need and someone was there for you. Isolation, going it alone, pretending to have it all together, these are chief shortcomings of our age. And asking to be taken in reminds everyone that we do, in fact, need one another. We are, in fact, already in relationship with each other, and we can go deeper. Rabbi Rami Shapira wrote, "Hospitality is essential to spiritual practice. It reminds you that you're part of a greater whole. Putting others first puts you in the midst of life, without the illusion of being the center of life." I find that very helpful. And I would add that when we knock on doors asking our own form of hospitality in any of its myriad forms, we're giving the gift of connection and can be bearers of blessing, even sometimes to our own surprise. Hospitality is about making room for one another, making room in our congregations, in our communities, in our homes, in our hearts. A big piece of that is simply listening. We make room for one another when we listen well to each other's words, needs, dreams, stories. Here's a story. A young couple was in a restaurant with their 4-year-old son, and they were being waited on by one of those experienced waitresses who never showed contempt for a customer, but by their unharried pace and level gaze made it clear that they fear no mortal, even parents. This particular waitress jotted on her pad deliberately and quietly while the parents gave their selections, including substitutions and such. And she turned to the boy, and he began his order in a kind of fearful desperation. "I want a hot dog," he started. His parents barked in unison, "No hot dog." The mother scowled at the boy, who then fell silent, and she said, "Bring him the vegetable and the grilled chicken, milk, and..." The waitress ignored the parents, and she looked directly at the boy. "What do you want on your hot dog?" The amazed child said, "Lots of ketchup and a pickle too, and could you bring me some milk?" "Coming up," she said, as she turned from the table, never even looking at the stunned parents. The boy watched her depart, and with astonished delight, he then said to his parents, "You know what? She thinks I'm real. She thinks I'm real." Love it. In a hospitable world, everyone is real. No one goes unseen or unheard, and one's value is not determined by their power or wealth or status. That's the radical nature of hospitality. That's what turns things upside down and makes us recognizing our common mutuality and need for each other. There is room for all, and no one has more right to room than another. So let's take time to remember when we were welcomed in, when we needed to be. And let's take time to remember the ways our world expanded when we welcomed the stranger. And then let's make it so again and again and again. Open the door, share the table, listen well, risk being changed, and let the grace of hospitality enter our world. Let's be together for a moment in silence.
What a great story. Thank you, Tricia. So we're now in the offering portion of our service. I'd like first to ask to come up Karen Ethier Waring. And she's going to say a few words about stewardship.
Hi. So you each contribute in ways that you don't even realize. And so before I start to talk about other monetary ways, can I just say that your voices combined today have been so astoundingly beautiful. You've contributed to me. The choir's singing was gorgeous. But I was a little late this morning, not but, because I did know you were here when I walked in a little late, and I heard Kumbaya, and oh my God, it was amazing. I just want to say that because your presence and your voices are part of what makes this community. So, what else makes this community and what else keeps us going? One very important piece is our excellent staff and our attention to inviting amazing people to join us and to lead us, because we have very busy lives and we probably could not do it all on a volunteer basis. So while Carolyn is on sabbatical, Tricia is with us. And oh my God, what a beautiful sermon. And I want to tell you about someone else that some of us have met, that you are going to meet soon and be very happy about. When Reverend Caitlin gave her notice, it was between the cycles when in the UUA we can call a minister. So we couldn't do a formal call, but we did do a little bit less formal call on like a Facebook page for UU. And we have met and interviewed Reverend Dr. Katrina Lanza. So she's from Scotland. And I'm going to have you just say her name with me, or I'm going to say it first. So it's not Katrina, it's Katrina. Katrina. And she's very kind, and I think she's not so very fussy. She also goes by Kat. She comes to us from a UCC background, so our cousins, the Congregational Church. But she is seeking to work in a broader theological setting. She's also studying to be a death doula and is interning at L&M. What else about her? She's pretty fabulous. We have offered her the position of acting associate minister. So she would be working with our outreach team and supporting our lovely listening circles, the people who lead those, as well as preaching for us. And I re-reviewed her resume, and I had missed this earlier, but she's the Koinonia Award for Excellence in Preaching in 2002. Pretty cool, right? So I wanted to let you know that. That's on the horizon. She would start in August, and we would do a formal search in January. So that would be an acting position. We'll talk more about it. Today's a listening table, so you can ask more about it when we sit down over that way later. But, so with 2 weeks to go until our March 3rd deadline, the annual stewardship appeal has heard from 60% of the All Souls community who have pledged $336,000. I rounded up about $20, so a little less than that. 80% of the way to go of our goal of $420,000. The stewardship team is optimistic that we can rally as a team to meet this need rather than having to cut expenditures. So you can submit your pledges either online by the form or putting the form right into the basket as it goes by. Thank you so much for all the many, many ways that you contribute.
As a member of the board, I also want to take a moment to publicly thank Karen Ether-Waring, who does an amazing job as our president of the board. So thank you, Karen. As a board, we initiated a sort of an All Souls celebratory thank you every couple of weeks. I think it's we're doing it, and we choose a person or persons, and their name is on the mission roll at the beginning of the service, and at this time we acknowledge. So I want to acknowledge, I have it written down here, I know who he is, Vic Meralda. Where are you, Vic? As a member of the Facilities Committee, Vic is always there to lend a hand and help out wherever and whenever needed. Projects seen and unseen, such as breaking down and helping to rebuild the music room. He's a member of the Building Committee, Kitchen Renovation, Craft Fair Carpenter membership team. Vic, you're amazing, and we celebrate you and for all you do for this community. As I think you're aware, this week we have the month's Good Neighbor offering, and the recipient this week is Alliance for Living. The Alliance for Living is the only HIV/AIDS service organization and resource center in southeastern Connecticut that also deals with homelessness and assists people with substance abuse disorder. They provide services that are rooted in cultural humility and harm reduction, eliminating stigma for everyone. One of the ways they accomplish their goals is through community collaboration. All Souls has recently been able to help Alliance's homeless clients by offering out showers by appointment during the week. This morning's Good Neighbor offering will do so much more for all their clients in need and to fulfill the mission of this important Southeastern Connecticut social services organization. So please say with me the words once they come up, as we prepare for the Good Neighbor offering. There we go, here we go. We give to the work of the Alliance for Living. To be good neighbors, we support work that creates the greater good. With this offering, we remember to extend our reach beyond these walls. The offering will be gratefully received. If anyone brought the tin cans that were part of the offering, you can bring those up at this time as well.
It's time to sing, huh? Enough words. Our closing hymn is One World is, One World is one, our world is one world. And I think it's new to you, and maybe it sounds like it is to me too. So you're going to play it through first, right, Bill? And then Becky's going to help us sing it.
Touches all of us.
invite you to reach out your hands, reach out your arms towards one another, whether here in Unity Hall or in the online pews, and wider still into the world beyond these walls, knowing that many are touched by us and enrich us in that. Hear now these words of Bill Schultz. This is the mission of our faith, to teach the fragile art of hospitality, to revere both the critical mind and the generous heart, to prove that diversity need not mean divisiveness, and to witness to all that we must hold the whole world in our hands. Oh, second time in a row I've forgotten that. I always have to make some mistake. Okay, thank you, Paul. So, right, I will.
Tricia, you're doing an amazing job. Thank you.
You know what's funny? It's already out. I'll photo this out. Go ahead.
Just go through the... Please say with me the chalice extinguishing words. Our service has ended, but our work is not yet done. May our spirits be renewed and our purpose resolved as we meet the challenges of the week. The chalice flame is extinguished until once again ignited by the strength of our communion. Please be seated and enjoy the postlude.
I don't have to do that. As you should. That was great. We have a healthy amount of announcements, and I'm going to start by asking Susan Beebe to come up. And she's going to talk about the tag sale backed by popular demand on April 15th. There you go.
So April 15th, it's not tax day, it's tag sale day. So in the hall is a sign-up sheet for volunteers. We're not asking you to sign up for a specific day or time. It's just to get a list of volunteers, and as we get closer, we'll send out another request asking for more specific times and for work that needs to be done. There's also a little flyer that has the dates for the drop-offs and what we need done in advance of the tag sale, and then the day of, in order to get ready for church on Sunday. On the back side of it, it also has the things some things that we would like to have for the tag sale, and also things that we don't want for the tag sale. Yes, that's just as important. And so April 15th, keep that date on your calendar, and starting the Sunday before, when we break down Unity Hall, then we'll start to get things rolling. So thanks very much. April 15th.
April 15th. If you're new to All Souls and you want to know more about this faith community, please stop by the welcome table and someone will be happy to greet you and answer your questions. I think Lynn is over there, or will be over there. The Black Lives Matter witness happens right after worship, so please join this important witness if you can. So that means somebody's going to take the banner, and those who can will go out to the street. This Monday, the office will be closed in recognition of President's Day. At the listening table, which is different than the welcome table, Karen and Janet will be there to listen. There you are. Janet, great. Okay, next Sunday, David Horse is going to be leading worship, your affiliate minister. Elder Journey, I met you all last month. We're back again, February 21st, this Thursday at noon, for those of you who are 65 and older. Okay, last thing, a fun tidbit. So you started to collect plastic, right? So it's going to be recycled. And the goal was to get to 500 pounds of plastic. I don't know how, that's so much. You're 54 pounds away. And I think you've got just a little bit more, maybe about as much time as you have to get your pledges in by March 5th. So it can all be 100%. Plastic pledges. Okay. Can I sit down?